What the hell going on? What's going on, fellas? It's cool kind of boxing coming at you with the latest. What's happening in boxing news? Man, just watched the interview with Frank Warren. Frank Warren, he was like, man, we ain't got no contracts signed. He said to sign a contract, all of the parties and parts must be guaranteed. Yes, everything must be guaranteed upon, and nothing has been guaranteed upon. So there's all the guarantees, the money they want, just like they did. Yeah, boy, they did that to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, he tried to negotiate hard as he could, flipping it. He tried to do the $50 million deal. They just didn't want it. Anthony Joshua said he would fight him for $50 million and just leading him all over the place. Deontay Wilder, I'm talking about. You know, having the public, Wilder don't want the fight. Uh, just, just, just leading the man all around the world. So now Frank Warren, dealing with Eddie Hearn. They got to try to negotiate between two of you know the old world negotiators. Because Eddie Hearn, even though he's a younger guy, he grew up in this. Under his dad. He knows the business, and you know, so they're gonna try to get the bigger piece of the pie. And so, sending contracts with no with no second fight, you know, no rematches, uh, sending contracts with, you know, things that are missing, that's supposed to be in there, you know. They'll do that to you if you don't know what you're doing, But Frank Warren, this is not his first rodeo. It ain't. He knows all the tricks of the trade. He's not gonna get beat in negotiations, and there's not gonna be a fight if everything ain't right. Understand? You savvy? So he did an interview, and really, it really kind of exposed, uh, yeah, boy. Really, it kind of left Eddie Hearn out there looking like the pathological liar that he is. You know, saying, "Hey, everything's fine with the fight. We got the venue, we got the fighters, all the contracts are signed, right? All the contracts are signed. We're just waiting for the popcorn to come in. We're just waiting for all the vendors and you know, we're just waiting for the whatever little detail he'll just put it out there, that we're waiting for this to happen, waiting for that to happen. You're like, well, Frank Warren comes back like none of that's true. Nothing's true. No, nothing is signed, sealed, and delivered, right? So what about this arbitration that's going on between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? My man ain't down in Alabama training for nothing. Uh, yeah, you could say what you want. You could say that nobody wants to see the fight because of what happened. in the last matchup between the two. You could say that Wilder got beat down so bad. We don't want to see that fight. We want to see the two British heavyweights, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. We want to see that matchup. Huh, really? Well, I don't think so. Law don't go right here, law dog. Mm-mm. Law don't go right here, law dog. You savvy? Because Tyson Fury signed a deal. And when you sign a deal for another fight, you don't get to fight who you want after you sign that deal. You just get to move on because you won the first fight and you take the man belt on down the road. Huh? Maybe somebody should have told Lomachenko to get him a rematch clause. Because if you think that you the champion, and you get into a fight and a guy has a good chance to beat you, well, he's probably going to take your title and he's going to ease on down the road and claim victory over you and talk shit and never face you again. That's the chicken shit we dealing with today. We're dealing with chicken shit fighters. We're dealing with dudes who have no honor. We have dudes who they don't care about being the best in boxing. They don't care about legacy. They care about getting rich and hauling ass on you and talking shit. That's more important than legacy nowadays. That's it. So, excuse me. We have Frank Warren telling you that this fight is not guaranteed. This fight is not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. Not until we get the trilogy match between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I know you don't want to hear it. I know you didn't want to see it. You wanted, a lot of people, a lot of boxing fans, wanted to see Tyson Fury just sail off into the sunset. And they had you believing it. They had you believing it. Hey, he could just break that contract and let's just go off with the fantasy win. Let's just go off and do what we want to do because we got the outcome that we want. Oh, forget the second fight. Don't worry about that. He just have to eat that. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about the second fight. Don't even worry about it. You ain't even got to honor that. And that's, that was people's mindset. That was a lot of Wilder haters in America mindset. He can't fight anyway, so, he only got the right hand, he can't move. He sucks as a champion, He lucked up and got where he is, he didn't build himself up, from nothing, starting boxing late, going to the Olympics and knocking out 40 or so people. Whoever he didn't knock out, he knocked down. No respect for that? Huh. Well, you look at other, heavyweight records, they don't reflect that. Don't reflect that at all. A lot of cheating and PEDs, but you respect that or you just hate Wilder so much? You respect a cheater, somebody who's been suspended from the sport over a guy that did it the right way. That's insane. That is insane, right? But it shows that you got the slave mentality. You have the slave mentality. That's right. Anything you have been fed, You can't think outside of that. You know, they just let you go, and you're gonna come right back to the plantation. Because you already been trained. You already been trained. I said it. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I said it. You already been trained. You know, because you want Tyson Fury, the cheater, the known cheater, to win, even though it doesn't reflect in his record. When you know you are the best, you rematch a person. That's right. You rematch him. Especially if the champion brought you up out of obscurity, brought you back from killing yourself. You wanted to kill yourself because you were so disgusting. You were so freaking disgusting. You knew you was despicable me. As a matter of fact, if you look at a couple, come on now, y'all see it? Y'all see it? Despicable me. Is that not Tyson Fury in that cartoon? Despicable me. Yeah, he looked just like that dude. Don't even come with that bullshit. Y'all know he is despicable me. But Wilder said, "No, man, don't kill yourself. Nah, man, come on, man. I'm gonna come fight me, man. I'll give you a chance." But despicable me says, "Who? Here's my opportunity to be despicable." You know, and him and all his minions, you know, they plotted to dethrone the heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, yeah, they all plotted. What's his name? Guy that fought Mayweather. I can't call his name right now. The one who head hit the turnbuckle. He was trying to roughhouse Mayweather when Mayweather went over there to what was bit Hatton, yeah, run up there and snatch the his glove and shit. You know, and we all know it's true. Even though they want to gaslight you, shit. Tyson ain't got no. Come on. It's just that people hate Wilder so much they want him out of. They don't want him upsetting the big British heavyweight history duel between two British heavyweights. Come on, man. Today, everything is so manufactured. It's ridiculous. It's making boxing unwatchable. And even the writers, some of the writers are starting to come around. I see in some of the boxing articles, they're starting to state the truth. And the truth is that fans like a lot of pretend. They like an alternate universe. We see it. We see it in Canelo. They know this man has been ducking for years. They know this, but yet they don't care. They will argue. They will argue with you until you can't argue no more, even though they know what you're saying is true. Demetrius Andrade had to crash his press conference for him to be mentioned, for him to even be recognized. Why does he have to do that? If you're the best and you're the baddest dude, you ain't worried about them other cats coming whenever. When was it? Keith Thurman, when he saw Polly Malignaggi, went in there, he said, "You better not duck me, son. You better not duck me, son." You know, he crashed his press conference. Lara crashed press conferences. So this is something that has been done in boxing. And when Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua, you know, and Wilder was in negotiations, Wilder wanted to come to his press conferences and confront him. But Anthony Joshua, being such a mental basket case, he didn't want Wilder in his press conferences. He made sure he had extra piled up security and police to make sure to protect him from Wilder crashing his 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 press conferences. He didn't want him at the ringside, folks. What does that tell you? Have we ever seen anything so soft in boxing? Have we seen anything like it? Let me tell you, I haven't. I have never seen such a scary heavyweight champion in Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I have never seen such a scam artist, such a con artist in boxing. So we're living in different times, where the fighters are not straight up. They don't just come to fight. They don't believe they're the best. They're always looking for the angle. They're always looking for an advantage. Whether it be Canelo and Kablutarol or what is it called? Kablutarol. Okay. So what? You get to train and take this crap, and you still get to be seen to be legitimate? Is that legitimate? Huh? And then they've raised the legal limits for the drug, so you can do that, and oh my goodness, it's just like boxing. It's so backwards. It's backwards now. So we had Roy Jones Jr. today talking about Errol Spence hadn't fought anybody. And I'm just feeling like, what happened to you, Roy? You used to tell it like it is, man. You was one of those dudes that Larry Merchant used to always talk shit about. Used to always try to downplay your career, no matter who you fought. He used to always wait for you to look like you were doing bad in a fight, then start talking mad shit on you. Then you end up knocking a guy out, and then he have to find some way to give you a backhanded compliment. Oh man, them was some fun days until Mayweather fought Ortiz in that interview. He told him, Mayweather told Larry Merchant, "You don't know shit about boxing." That was gold. That was a beautiful thing. So somebody to tell Larry Merchant, "You don't know shit. You don't know shit about boxing." HBO need to fire your ass. And Larry Merchant was like, "If I was 50 years younger," and Mayweather was like, "You wouldn't do shit." So for Roy Jones to have went through that era of all the haters and people hating on his career, why would he do that to Errol Spence Jr.? Because apparently Errol Spence Jr. has unified the division. Apparently he went over to England and he fought Kell Brook. And Kell Brook was the man of the division, when Kell Brook was looking good, when he beat Sean Porter, you know what I'm saying? When he went up to fight Triple G, yeah, he hurt his eye socket, but he came back down. He went off and healed. He came back to fight Errol Spence Jr. And the only reason that Kell Brook went to fight Triple G because he was trying to avoid fighting Errol Spence Jr., who was after the title. That's the same thing Mikey Garcia did to Errol Spence Jr. You go up and fight a weight if you don't want. If you want to avoid somebody in the weight class you're at, you go up and fight a bigger guy. So in case you lose, it's an excuse. You have an excuse. Oh, I moved up. I moved up a weight class or two weight classes, and I fought the best guy up there. So now you have an excuse. You know, you've dodged your, you dodged a bullet in your division, and you lost to a bigger guy daring to be great. That's the story. It's really smart, but you got one of your eyes fucked up. That's what happened to you. One of your eyes got towed back. So then, he was after Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman didn't want to fight the man. You know, so these are the top guys in the division. So Sean Porter took forever to come around and fight him. So he got in pinnacle shape and fought Errol Spence Jr. and look what happened. Errol Spence dropped him in the 11th, separated himself, won that fight. So then Errol Spence get into a car accident. Look like his career is over, right? But then he comes back, 14 months later, and does he fight? Does he fight a Josecito Lopez? Does he fight a Jamal James? Does he fight somebody who's not on the top 10 list? Like Terrence Crawford probably would. No, he goes straight for the next dude who was former champion, Danny Swift Garcia. So he goes and fight Danny Garcia and make it look like he never missed a beat. You don't quite have the Errol Spence Jr. strength like he used to, but he's looking good enough to make Danny look like he's just a regular dude. He go in there and beat him. He gets a decision, a one-sided decision on Danny Swift Garcia. Now, before the fight, everybody was like, well, Danny can knock him out. Errol Spence looked like he looked like he never gonna fight again. He ain't gonna be the same. I mean, it looked like you had people praying. People were praying that Errol Spence Jr. was never gonna return to the ring. They was saying that all kind of weird little things like, about his surgery and about how he can't walk, and they had memes of him being in a cast, body cast, and they had like little hate circles, talking all this like really despicable garbage, man. So Earl Spence Jr., he comes back, and he dominates Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia got a few licks in, he's Danny Garcia. But then a interesting thing that happens once the haters, once all their little hatred get destroyed, because Spence won the fight. All of a sudden, Danny Garcia ain't shit. He ain't nothing. He ain't nobody. All of a sudden, Danny Garcia was never nobody. He never could win the big ones. He never could compete with the top welterweights. Well, Danny Garcia is a top welterweight, folks. I'm trying to tell you. And you ask anybody who hates Earl Spence, the first test is, the people he fought, they try to destroy. They try to tear down their reputation, even though they are the elite of the division. Who he fought. Oh, they ain't nobody. Well, I guess Green Machine and is somebody. I guess Amir Khan is somebody. I guess Ndongo and I mean these people are just ridiculous. And for Roy Jones Jr. to play into he don't fight the best competition, I'm just like, man, what is going on in boxing? I mean, is the money, is somebody paying these dudes money to lie? I mean, I don't get it. It's like a Fox News network in boxing where people just make up narratives and propaganda, you know what I'm saying, because they don't like certain fighters. Whatever happened to the truth? You know, does that play a part in boxing anymore? Or are you just, you know, able to just say whatever you want to say, regardless of what happens in the sport? That seems what is going on, folks. And it's just making boxing unwatchable. Unwatchable. I mean, you know, you got fighters jealous of other fighters. You got, you know, Keith Thurman fans jumping on bandwagons of other fan bases and hating on Errol Spence. You know, and the man, he's doing what traditional boxing purists want him to do. They want him to get all the belts and become undisputed. So now they want Terrence Crawford to hold out with the last belt and do some kind of petty fanboy shit, you know, try to make the conditions as terrible as possible. Because, well, let me just break it down to you. We're living in toxic times and petty times. And the thing people want, you know, if they can't be beaten, you know, they want to tear down all the opposition. They want to tear down their resumes, and they want to anything to keep him from becoming. And that is what the whole and even maybe give him the opportunity to become undisputed. You were proud to be a man. You need to like bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, put in prison. You know, a lot of they're real suckers. You know, I mean, you can't really understand. You know, the pettiness, the trolling, to deal with nowadays. And now we got, you know, legends, you know, fighters who are legends playing into the bullshit. But here at Full Kind of Boxing, we're going to give it to you straight. We're going to give it to you straight and how I see it. And if you don't like it, then you better like it like you like it, or you better get the hell on. That's how I see it. So it looks like Tyson Fury going to be fighting Wilder, and Wilder is looking really smooth with Malik Scott. And Malik Scott, you can see from him being on the pads that, I mean, he's really showing him some really smooth boxing. And look like he's going to be on his toes. He's going to throw. He's going to be in and out, you know, and when he's in, he's going to the body. And look like when he's out, he's going to be moving. You know, he's going to show some lateral movement if you've seen the clips. And he's going to be shooting that left jab to the midsection, and look like he's going to be high right hand, you know, through a step and a feint. You saw that. You know, he's going to be switching, you know, momentum on it. You know, he's not just going to come straight at you with it. You know, he's gonna put a little feint in there, and you know what I'm saying, and try to confuse you, and then catch you with it off a different timing with it. So he's trying to come up with some stuff, and he's trying to box. He's trying to look like a better boxer. You know, dude, if he that, he doesn't knock out Tyson Fury. Maybe he just. Yeah, I know that seems like that's impressive to a lot of people. Well, boxing is boxing, and anything can happen in boxing. I can tell you, I've been around. You know, I've been around. I've seen a lot of my favorite fighters get knocked out. You know, so I don't really have the emotional connections that you guys have with your fighters because I've lived through a lot of eras. I've seen Pernell Whitaker, lose decisions to Chavez. I saw Oscar De La Hoya get gift decisions, and I saw, you know, I saw Sugar Shane Mosley get beat down by Vernon Forrest. I saw Vernon Forrest get beat down by Mayorga. So which taught me how the triangle theory, doesn't really work. So I lived through a lot of this stuff. I've seen a lot of it. But because we didn't have social media back there, you just didn't know how shitty people were. You know, you just didn't get that. That didn't come across. You know how petty people are and how stupid they are about these fighters. Instead of just calling a spade a spade. You know, just stand on your square, man, and just call things for what they are. Don't sit up here and pretend when you know what's going on, when you know the truth. So I'm looking forward to the third trilogy. I think Tyson Fury, he don't care. He didn't have anything to begin with. He didn't have nothing to lose in the first place. That's why it's not a big deal to him because when you come from nothing, you know it's not like it's not like you have a lot to lose. You just don't because you come from the mud. You started from the mud. So I expect Deontay Wilder to win. He should have won that one. If it wasn't for all the egg weights in the gloves and this and that, that was special. So, I'm about to get ready for my favorite program. So I'm gonna hit you guys back. This is what I think, and this has been Full Counter Boxing, and I'll come back with another one tomorrow with you guys. And hopefully y'all guys will join me, and we'll talk some more crap about boxing. All right. And remember, law don't go right here, law dog. Get happy. And I'll hit you guys back with another one.